Hello all, I'm back again. A very serious matter I'm going to talk about this time. A very, very serious matter. It's only just come up and it's been quite heavily on the news. Refugee crisis into Europe. Is the Trojan horse coming into Europe? ISIS could quite easily be putting plants amongst the refugees. Europe needs to be alarmed of this and find evasive action. We are at war against ISIS. I'll basically go and state what I normally do to start the videos off now. It's 7:30 at night on 1930 on the 4th of August 2015. This crisis is a major situation happening at the present moment, right now, to the date as I speak. This is World War III. ISIS is the enemy of the world. Be prepared for trouble. Europe needs to do something to find out those refugees coming from Syria to make sure that ISIS modes and snodes and spies are not amongst them. It will bring war into Europe. Major war. They have promised it already, and they carry out their promises. They follow the Quran to the T, and I'm calling the Quran like the Mein Kampf, which Hitler used to encourage his own people to kill the Jews during World War II. Well, let's not look at that too much now. Let's look at the fact of strategy. Strategy happening to Europe and strategy on the idea of ISIS. We're at war against this group. This group is an evil group. It's a very evil group, and we must fight it to the very last drop of blood. And we must be prepared to know that when these refugees are trying to get through Greece, into Albania, into Hungary, into Europe, and eventually go to Germany, amongst these refugees could be terrorists, could be ISIS plants to create trouble in Europe. That must be found. The only real short-term answer I can see is places like the centre of Australia need to have prison camps set up, run by Australian military and federal police officers with ASIO, and ISIS members all need to be frog marched into those camps, and that's where they stay indefinitely until the war is finished. We are at war, and we're at war with you, ISIS. Islamic State is evil. Very, very evil. Anyone who listens to this YouTube, must look at that. Well, let's go back in history. I like on history. Back 1,000 years before Christ, to the Battle of Troy. The Trojan horse. A Trojan horse was given to the city of Troy, which penetrated a major, big fortification and set of walls. In a different situation, in a modern sense, this is happening again. We're putting out an arm's length, a reach for the poor people, for the hurting people, and there's millions of hurting people in places like Syria, Lebanon, Turkey. Oh, not so much Turkey, but Syria, Lebanon, Libya. ISIS is just slaughtering people. But, yes, by all means, we've got to help the people which in need, very much so. But, be aware, ISIS could plant its own agents amongst that to take war into Europe. This is a very bad group. This is a group we must fight to death, to the end, and this is the start of World War III. That's all I'm going to say for now. I'll put more forth, and I'll put history. Just think of one thing. The Battle of Troy, with the Trojan horse, about 1,000 years ago, about 3,000 years ago, a major city fortification fell because of a trick, giving a gift. In a different sense, it's the same thing that's happening today in Europe. We're not giving a gift. We're trying to help the poor people. That I do agree with. But amongst that, we will get the enemy will plant its seeds to bring war into Europe. This must be looked at, and ISIS must be defeated. We must go to war against it. No forget negotiations, and prisoner of war camps are one thing I do state. In places like the middle of Australia or places like Antarctica, to keep them out of battle, do not send them back. Attack them. If they're not killed in the battles, they need to be put. And the Quran's a religious book which the Muslims read for their own devotions. That's fair enough. I've got no problems with that. But the way they're using it, they're using it like the Mein Kampf. The Mein Kampf was a book Hitler used during World War II to justify to the Germans to attack the Jews from 1933 to 1945. We must take this into action, and then must realise this. ISIS, I will be your worst nightmare online. So we must battle ISIS to the very end. They call us an infidel. Call me what you want. I don't care if I'm an infidel. A combatant is what I am against you. Thank you very much. Bye for now.